The S25 Ultra is just around the corner, and we're finally going to have the upgraded replacement for the S24 Ultra. And the S24 Ultra has been very serviceable this year, and I made a video saying it was the most complete phone of 2024. A lot of great things going for it, and it didn't disappoint. Mostly. I mean, 90% of it really good experience. Still dealing with some fine-tuning issues with the camera, but otherwise, it's been a good phone. And the S25 Ultra is the next generation. And we're taking a big leap. And the thing is we've got other phones that have come out. Most of them have come out in the Chinese market. This will be basically, when it gets here, one of the first in the US market with the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, which promises big things like 40+% extra power and performance and efficiency and battery life and reduction in heat and over 40% better hardware-based ray tracing. Does any of that stuff mean anything to you? Well, if you just use Twitter, or also known as X, or Instagram or Pinterest, you probably won't care too much, and you probably don't need to upgrade. But it's going to set the standard for the next year. And how do I know that? Well, because every Samsung phone for the last 10, 15 years has set the standard. And it's always interesting. Now, I picked the Pixel 9 Pro XL, or Pixel 9 Pro, either one, interchangeable kind of, for phone of the year. Runner up close between the S24 Ultra and the OnePlus 12. But here's the thing. When did the OnePlus 12 come out? It came out like right after the S24 Ultra, right about the same time. But the two main phones that it contends with, right? The Pixel 9 series came out in, what, September or August? And it came out in August, and then the iPhone came out in September. So those phones come out at the end of the year. And I always think that it's unfair when you see other folks like, oh, this phone's phone of the year. It came out the last 3 weeks of the year. It doesn't really count, in my opinion. Like, you got to show up to work to be able to get employee of the year, right? Well, you got to show up and put your time in to be considered phone of the year. So, yeah, I feel like you really got to give it at least a couple of months to establish that. And that's one of the uncanny things that Samsung does every year. They make such powerful, reliable, elegant, sophisticated hardware that it's a conversation piece for the whole year, and it sets the standard. Everything in the Android world, even in iPhone, is judged against this phone. Whether this phone is better than another phone or not, I mean, that's another conversation to be had. But it's the water cooler conversation in tech, where most people think of Samsung and they think of the Ultra phone as being synonymous with the best that Android has to offer. And I think we're going to take a big leap with the S25 Ultra. And I talked more about this previously, but I'm excited about it for a lot of different reasons. But the big thing, and I was excited before, like before I got my hands on a Snapdragon 8 Elite phone, like I tested out the iQOO 13, I tested out a couple other devices, and some I can't mention, but I've tested out quite a few already that had the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, and that took my excitement level to the next level. Because the S24 Ultra, as nice it is with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, the 8 Elite processor takes it basically to the max. Like, we could call it the S24 Ultra Max, right? And it's interesting, too, because I've already seen leaks for the Samsung Unpacked event, which will be happening in January. We will see this in January. We're basically a month away from the new platform phone of the year. I mean, essentially, especially in the United States. I mean, of course, it's big in South Korea. That's where they're made. But in the United States, there's basically the two big giants are Apple and Samsung. And then, of course, Google is quickly coming up in the rearview mirror. They have been expanding their market share. OnePlus is less than theirs. And Motorola's done a pretty good job of establishing themselves in like the lower mid-tier sector, and also the flip, like the flip phone. The Motorola Razr, fantastic phone. But the S25 Ultra will be the standard bearer for quite a while, because it's going to eclipse the other phones. It's going to eclipse the S24 Ultra, and people will be looking at it and being like, okay, that's the new phone we're going after. Whenever the new phone comes out, there's always like, oh, should I get this phone? Should I get that phone? When the S25 Ultra gets here, one, people are going to be waiting for it. Like, people are already starting to hold back and stand by on their purchasing decisions, not buying this one, even though it's been on some great deals. And if you're interested in getting one, I've got a link in the description, affiliate link. You can go do that if you want, because it's still, get a good deal, fantastic phone. But the new one is always the exciting thing. Like, there's like the promise, there's like the stuff hidden underneath the surface where it's like, all right, we see the leaks, we see the rumors, but there's still that excitement about new phones. And as much as this phone is exciting, It's been out for 11 months now, and it's crazy. It doesn't seem like it's been 11 months. This year has gone by so fast. I mean, not just for me, I think for a lot of people. And this has been a very difficult and difficult year for me personally. But getting through it, yeah, it's gone by really, really fast. And it's just crazy to me. We're already talking about the S25 Ultra. And talking about some of the leak things I saw the other day, we might even be getting a fourth phone. And I talked about this previously too, because there's rumors that there might be an S25 Slim, which I think is the S25 Slim and the rumored iPhone 17 Slim are the two phones that nobody asked for, but they might be trying to give us anyway. But the Ultra is the Ultra is the Ultra, right? It's they call it that because it's loaded out for bear. I mean, it's got a 200 megapixel camera. The new one is supposed to have the same 200 megapixel camera. Has the S Pen, the stylus integration, has DeX and all that stuff. Which, if it shows up, some people were trying to tell me that it might not have DeX, but that's one of the biggest selling points that Samsung has to hang their hat on. That's different than other manufacturers. So I don't see them getting rid of that, especially as fine tuned and polished as it is. So I expect to see DeX. I expect, of course, the S Pen and the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. It's going to be a beast. And you're talking about gaming performance. And I know a lot of people talk about it. Some people are like, oh, I don't care about gaming. Some people are like, no, I have to have it. I love doing high-level gaming on my phone. We're getting a lot more console-level gaming when it comes to the smartphones. We've got Alien Isolation now in the Android market, which is a really great game. Really, really great game. Definitely play it. Not for the faint of heart. Very suspenseful. But we've seen it happen with the iPhone. They're getting games from Capcom like Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village, whatever you want to call it, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 4 Remake. And these are powerful, substantial games. And I'm looking forward to some of them coming over to the Android platform because I think we're finally there. I think the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor is going to carry us into the promised land of console era gaming on phones, or at least get us like one small step for gaming, one giant leap for gaming mankind. Like both of those things, it's gonna take us to the next level. So if you want a more powerful phone, if you think that this was not powerful enough, then you'll get that. But also, it's the dawn of OneUI 7. What is OneUI 7? Is it Android? Is it not Android? And just for some clarification, OneUI is Samsung's version of Android. Like if you pull up a Samsung phone and look at their screen, their icons, and how they do business with it, it's a layer over normal stock Android. So like you get a Pixel, a lot of people call it stock Android because it doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just Google's version, unadulterated, how they expect for it to run on your phone. And it runs beautifully. It's very smooth. I like it. But some people like the extra flair whenever it comes to One UI, and they've got their own individual apps and the different look. And I mean, clearly it's much more bubbly. It's much more colorful and vibrant and all those things. So Samsung doesn't have Android 15 yet. It's waiting on One UI. One UI 7 will be here when the S25 drops, and it will give us Android 15, so we can finally see what Samsung's vision for that is. But this is the first time, I think, in a while where we've had the actual version of the OS. I mean, yeah, they do, but this is a big thing. Like, this is a huge rework. It's not like in the past where it's like, all right, we changed a few things, we added some widget support. This is like a total rework. So we're talking about total rework, Android 15, hopefully some more fine-tuning of the camera. We're looking at the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, like 40% benchmark improvements across the board in many different areas. I think it's going to take us to the next level. And it's going to be that new conversation starter for the year. And it's going to bring back some excitement. Like, as we get it later into the couple of months, like, it's cool. Like, when the fall gets here, we know it's fun time. We call it Tech-Timber, Tech October. And we get just phones falling out of the woodwork, right? They're like rats in a warehouse. They're just everywhere, right? We get a new phone. Like, every time you turn, you run into another phone. And that's exciting. And then we get to, like, October, and especially since the Pixel launched in August this year, October's kind of quiet. November's kind of quiet. We didn't get a OnePlus Open this year. You know, that didn't come out the second half of the year. So January really is like this jump start where we get unpacked, we get the new phone, and of course they'll start the reserve your pre-order campaign probably in the next couple of weeks and get everybody building up that energy for the excitement of the new standard bearing phone for the year. And that's something that I think Google needs to work on. Like, Google has done a phenomenal job this year. The Pixel 9, I call it Pixel 9 Pro XL phone of the year, but with their market share and with just the opinion people have had about their phones, good, bad, or indifferent, like, Samsung still is just like in the market and market bias and customer bias, I think still a leg above them. And so Samsung, rather than Google, the maker of Android, is the standard bearer. So it's going to be an exciting time, and it's something that I will definitely be covering. I've got a few surprises that I can't talk about right now that will be apparent later down in the road, and then you'll be like, wow, that's pretty cool. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited because we're going to make it through the holidays. We're going to get this cool new phone, cool new hardware. This is the biggest jump in processing architecture in a long time. And maybe architecture is not the right word, but we're dropping down to a 3 nanometer processor for Samsung, and this processor can go up to 4.32 gigahertz. The Snapdragon 8 Generation 3 tops it at 3.36. We're talking a full gigahertz faster speed. We're talking about another generation of Galaxy AI built on a lot of the Samsung, like the Google AI platform stuff, and Gemini integration, and all the cool new things. So, yeah, I think we've been waiting for this moment for a while, because when Galaxy AI came out at the beginning of this year, a lot of people were like rolling their eyes, whatever. AI is a buzz phrase. A year previously, we weren't even talking about it. Like, AI just sprung up last spring, and then it's like proliferating all over the place. And most people are like, I don't take that seriously. I don't care. Well, we're getting to the point now where it's starting to be more impactful, starting to make a difference in people's lives. And we're getting that mesh between software and hardware working together, where I think it's going to be a perfect storm of finally like that light bulb moment where some of this stuff becomes more real world applicable for people. And I think they've got a chance to steal some market share. When you talk about the iPhone, they've been backsliding a little bit. 2024 is a very vulnerable year for Apple. Like, they've had issues with the lawsuits, RCS support. Finally, they had to do that because the EU was all over their backside trying to get them to do that. European lawsuit over there was about to be filed, and we've had other issues with them legally. We talk about the failure of the Apple Vision Pro and the lackluster response and some of the issues with iOS 18, Apple Intelligence being a giant failure. So it's left that door open, not only for Google with the Pixel phones, but I think it leaves the door open for Samsung. Samsung S24 already sold better than S23 like a month ago. So critically, a success. But I think if you're a Samsung fan, if you're interested, if you're anti-Apple, then I think 2025 is going to be the year to start off rooting for not necessarily an underdog, but the standard bearer to yank back some of the market share and to showcase what an Ultra phone actually is. And I am here for that. I want to see that. I also want them to improve on the camera, make it a little bit better. But overall, I think some excitement is coming. So let me know what you think. I know this is little all over the place, but it was a big conversational topic I wanted to have because I wanted to talk about some of this stuff and kind of, loop it all in together so we could have some discussion. But let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? What do you think about this moving forward? Are you excited about the S25? Do you think it's going to be a game changer? Do you think it's going to be just business as usual? Let's talk about it. And of course, go to the comment section for that. And if you have any other gripes and complaints and concerns and zings and things you want to complain about, then that's your outlet. Like, go there. And I know you will. So that's all I got. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out, especially if you like Samsung content, because in a few weeks it'll be coming hot and heavy and fast and in your face with a lot of Samsung stuff, because 'tis the season. Not Christmas, but the Samsung season. So thanks for everything. I appreciate it. As always, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.